Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm Jen Doling, and this is an episode of, what do you want to call this?
3? I mean, not including all the specials and everything.
I'm going to call it Jake of all trades, but master of none. Because this is my brother, Jake Doling.
Anyway.
I call him Big Bro, but y'all can call him Jake of all trades. Jake is 4 years older than me, and we are 100% siblings. And we didn't really spend too much time. We kind of existed. We coexisted together in our childhood, but
No, I mean, yeah, and I felt bad about that, but a lot of that, you're 4 years younger. So
and a girl. We had nothing in
yeah.
common, so we didn't have a bad experience together. We just coexisted. Honestly, I don't know how else to explain that. Really, never bad blood between us.
No, it could always be worse.
So, what my goal is for this episode is not only get to spend time with my brother, which this is what we do. We just sit together and chat. We have just great chats. We always have. We're both kind of intellectuals. Him definitely more so than me, for sure. But that's why I call him Jake of all trades, because you can quite literally ask him anything, and he, if he doesn't know, he'll tell you. But there's not much you don't know something about.
Oh, there's quite a bit. I mean, I try to just be as open as I can, and if I don't know something, I'll admit that. And other than that, I mean, I'm capable of error and everything else too, and I don't mind certainly if people correct me on something. In fact, I welcome that.
I'm the same
I'm
way.
always trying to be better and always trying to learn. So.
You are quite the learner. Growing up, I was out playing sports. That's Remy hacking in the corner, in case you heard that.
Oh, and there. Okay, he's good.
Okay, all right. Don't puke on the Cincinnati Reds rug, please. Anyways, you were always reading by choice, and I was the exact opposite. I know you read Shakespeare for pleasure in like 7th grade, just because it was interesting.
That was because of Grandpa.
We had an amazing grandfather, by the way.
Yeah, Grandpa had well, for all intents and purposes, his own library. I mean, it was basically some cool Swedish bookshelves in his.
He was ahead of his time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was quite an intellectual himself, successful businessman.
Oh yeah, he had several patents that he did on his own, and created his own business. Did very well. But he had several hundred books, and he made a deal with me that because he had some really nice editions of different classic books and stuff, and I mean some with gold trim on and everything, really fancy.
Yes,
at least
it
was for a kid, like it was very, very nice, and I was interested in a lot of it anyway. But he said I could have any of those volumes if I read them and then gave him a verbal book report afterwards. I could keep them. So I was like, okay, and so I just read every single book that he had of that collection just so I could get it all. But it was worth it, and I would have done it anyway. But he gave me some direction there, and also made it more central in my life. Just the pleasure of learning, and the discipline, and there's a lot to gain from learning. Obviously, I mean,
I didn't like learning back then. Not until I became an adult did I.
No, yeah, you actively hated. I remember one Christmas. Our parents were trying to figure out how to get you to read, and because you just hated it. And I was like, well, the only way you're going to do it is to get something that she's interested in reading. I mean, I know it sounds very simple, but they're like, wow, we never thought of that. So, and at that time you loved basketball, among other things. And so, like, they got you a book on Michael Jordan. And guess what? You read the whole book. I mean,
too.
Yeah, and it was a good book. And
I had to write a report on that, too.
Yeah, and that's the trick, is it's really, you just get stuff that...
I'll tell you what, I have a completely opposite opinion or experience than you when it came to Grandpa inspired you to read.
Mm-hmm.
Grandpa's second wife, so the only grandma that I knew.
No, Susie,
Grace.
Yeah.
Grace, who was a former elementary teacher or English teacher. I don't know what she taught. She was a very old school teacher, though, like very disciplined and everything. And she said that I like to draw, so she saw that in me. And it was the same time they couldn't get me to read much. And Grandma made me a deal that if I write a book, then she'll give me $5. Well, that was like $1 million to me at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I did. I busted my butt to, it was called something about ants. And all I cared about was illustrating it. And then I did write a joke in there because it was imagine that. I was like, I tried to make it funny. And remember how rigid she was? She was just very, just never smiled. That's kind of what I remember about her. And I remember the joke I tried to make in the book. Remember, it's ants, and they had to take the ant got hurt one of his legs. It was like 6 legs or whatever. They got 6 legs or 8 legs? 6.
6, I assume.
Yeah. Okay, well, he broke one of his 6 legs, and he had to go to the hospital.
She didn't like that, play on words?
She said, no, it was even worse. She's reading it. She stops. You spelled hospital wrong. I'm like, that's it, lady. I'm done. You didn't get my joke. Never wrote a book again.
No, she was very literal and wanted to teach proper grammar.
I understand, and I respect that, but as a time, like,
right.
No, we had different goals.
She did the same thing with me, actually. She had, at the time, she still lived in the apartment next to Grandpa. This is, I think, really before they got married or anything. And I was kind of actually like one of the things that kind of like got them an excuse to get together, I think. You know what I mean? I don't know if you ever really think about it that way, but yeah, I mean, they were already neighbors, obviously. But anyway, so I would go over there, and she had one of those exercise bikes, and I loved those things.
I remember that, yeah.
So, but she wanted me to write a book, and I'm like, you know. And I was like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll dictate it to you if you let me ride the bike. And so I got her to do it for me while I'm doing the exercise bike and everything. And she thought that was funny, but I'm like, that way I don't have to do it, you know, kind of. But yeah, I did the Mummy That Ate Too Much, I think, was the one I wrote for her.
No, Penelope the Pencil.
Oh, yeah.
That was actually quite brilliant of a book.
Well, that was If I Were a Pencil, What Would I Do? That was the name of the pencil.
It was actually...
Well, I want that won a Young Authors Award.
Yeah, he was doing all that stuff, and meanwhile, I was doing horrible in school, and we're quite opposite in the fact that he quite excelled in high school, and I would say it was accurate to say you enjoyed high school.
I enjoyed it. I don't know if I use the term excel. I mean,
You excelled.
I failed algebra freshman year.
You were the drum major, the person that does this crap.
Well, yeah. Well, I enjoyed high school, and that was part of that, of like doing all the activities, like band and art club and Latin club and academic Super Bowl, academic decathlon.
Didn't you take what language did you take?
That was Latin.
Okay, so I took Spanish, and keep in mind I high school I hated it. But I got hit with the divorce at my age. Jake was already graduated, so it just affected us differently.
Yeah.
But here's what I learned in Spanish. I never told you this. My Spanish teacher came to me and said that you're not going to pass this class. So you should probably drop out. Like, she just literally said in those words. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where it comes in, but I can't be making this up because I remember the words to this day.
You said adios?
No. She said adios to me, but those weren't the words that I remember. Okay. This is the only Spanish I learned. I swear this is a true story. El perro sabe más que tú. She has said that to me at this point, and it means something to the effect of the donkey is smarter than you.
Oh, damn.
Why? I look back then, I'm like, what the hell?
Well, was that kind of like a saying or something?
Maybe it's a Spanish saying. Help, comment if you know. But that's all I learned in Spanish.
That's kind of a harsh one, yeah.
And then she kicked me out nicely, if you will, so I could pass. And then sent me to I took French. Like, it's going to make a difference.
Well, I mean, she gave you good advice as far as, like, dropping the class.
Right. No, I'm not mad. I just want to, so I totally bought a box of chocolates for the French teacher and made sure I was in good cahoots with hers because I could not do foreign languages at all.
Well, you didn't even like English.
I don't.
Yeah, like reading and doing it.
No, I was rather just play basketball. To me, going to school was not something I wanted to worry about. When I went there, I did what I had to do, and then I wanted to go home and not worry about it. And quite frankly, I would say, would you say both our jobs are like that now? Like, when I went to work, I worried about work, and then I come home, I don't have to worry about work. That's why I don't want to use my management degree, because I don't, nope.
Well, I've kind of, over the past several decades, gotten jobs that, I work to live. I don't live to work. So, yeah, any job I do, I go in there, I give it my best, and then, you know, as soon as I clock out, I try to forget about it. And, because, you know, their time is their time, but my personal time is my time. So, yeah, it's two different things.
Agree with that. So, keep in mind, there's no rules to this, you guys. I'm just kind of giving you info here. Jake and I just talk. We like to talk. So, whatever we talk about, it's fair game. There are no rules, and we're just going to kind of let it flow. But for future reference, we do want to make this a reoccurring thing. and we definitely want audience input, questions, either on my Facebook. I'm Jen Doling on Facebook, jendoling@gmail.com, and then, or here on YouTube for sure. So we want audience engagement, and then once I get a certain amount of subscribers and things like that, we can go live actually, and you can ask Jake questions live. He is, like I said, a Jake of all trades, and so my first question to you, Jake, I want you to tell the audience, because I just did a video explaining about how I lost all my weight and how I gained all my weight back. For me, it was very recently, but I would like you to tell the audience, because you've had quite a weight loss venture of yourself. Would you mind telling that?
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's been about a decade or so. I just got tired of, you know, for me, it was, I saw a picture of myself from behind. I'm just like, I didn't realize I got that big. And I've always been, a bigger guy. But at a certain point, you just don't realize, if you kind of lose control there or whatever. And after I saw that picture, it just kind of dawned on me I really need to do something. If not just for appearances, just for your own health.
This was like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so I decided to just...
Where's Remy at?
I don't know, actually.
Seriously.
Oh, he's probably falling asleep right behind you.
He's black, so the walls are black and the carpet's black, everything's black, so... Oh, there you are. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I decided to actually, dedicate some time to that and to treat it seriously like I do a lot of other things, and take it day by day. And so that's what I did. And I started watching my diet better and exercising regularly, which is really hard to do anyway. But I have a physical job, or back then it was even more physical. And so to do that for 8 hours or more a day, and then get home and then exercise even more, it's just
and you have a family and
right. So
a house to keep up and all that.
And the only way it gets done is if it's that important to you. You just have to make time for it, no matter what. There's no excuses ultimately. Right. You just have to do it. And it's just so hard doing it all at the same time. Doing a well balanced diet and then exercise. I mean, it's always this weird dynamic. I always I used to smoke cigarettes too, so. It's like, okay, I can stop that, but then now it makes me want to eat more, and then it's like when you eat, then
it's
you're
always
like, okay,
something.
Right.
It's seriously.
So like, okay, I'll watch my weight, but now I still don't exercise or anything, and then you start doing that, and then I'm like, okay, well, I start smoking in an accident, and it's just like it's just.
You lost your weight differently than I did, though. You did the low carb, or what was it?
Yeah, it was basically the Atkins diet, but it's a low carb diet.
But this was like 10 years ago too. It was a lot more. I wouldn't say that was the boom of the Atkins, but.
No, but Atkins, to its credit, has been around quite a while, and still
this is true.
Is a pretty good diet overall. I mean, I'm skeptical of. Well, I'm a natural born skeptic anyway, and you'll learn if we do more of these. Yes. I'm all over the place, but at the same time, I try to think about everything and read everything.
Whereas I grew up never asking a single question to anyone older than me. I took everybody at their word. You always questioned everything. We were exact opposites in that.
Well, I didn't have a lot of older friends or anything, or even family members, so I kind of had to blaze my own path, for lack of a better term. I was fortunate that I was just kind of independently minded anyway, so I enjoyed reading and learning on my own, and I was kind of forced to do things on my own. So I just realized early on that the best way to do things and maximize your time and your benefit, like money and everything else, is to properly research it. And so anytime I'm interested in something, I just read about it and then I practice it. And
you were collecting coins in like 6th grade, like actual coins, like for collectors.
But yeah, I mean, that's an easy one though. I mean, well, first of all, they're shiny and they're they're cool to look at, and it's value, like there's value in it, because not only is it made of silver and or gold or some other stuff, but it's also actual currency. So yeah, I mean, it seemed like a no-brainer. The hard part was figuring out which ones are the best ones for the best prices to collect, and it's always about value with anything, really. But yeah, going back to the diet thing, I mean, yeah, so I did the low carb stuff and even followed it basically, not to the letter, but to the best of my ability early on, which is like the hardest phase of it, just with any diet,
absolutely,
right off the bat. They just starve you of almost like basically 28 carbs a day, which is almost nothing. I mean, but
When you were doing that, did you ever get to a point where you're like, I am super comfortable with this?
Yes.
Like, I got this.
Yes.
Because I certainly got to that point.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, for another analogy, smoking again. We're like, okay, I kicked this habit. It's been over a year or whatever, and so I'm good. I can smoke a cigarette, just one. It's like, so it's the same thing with dieting. Like, okay, I got this diet under control. I lost I met my goal weight. So yeah, I could eat a donut, no big deal. And which is fine. You really can. Just like you could probably smoke that one cigarette and be okay. But it's that mindset. You got you have to. It's hard to keep that at the forefront all the time. That's you have to really make it a priority in your life. And obviously I haven't over the course of the last decade or so, and it's just frustrating. But
was there a moment where your mind changed? Obviously, you put the weight back on. Mm-hmm. So what can you describe? Was it like an overnight thing, or was it like over the last 10 years? I mean, what got you to gain the weight back? What did you tell yourself?
Well, I mean, I'd already started gaining some back before this, but really when I broke my foot after that,
that's right.
It was just I was immobile for 12 weeks, and so
like no joke, immobile, yeah. Like and cannot put any pressure on your foot.
And to my wife and my mother-in-law's credit, they both took care of me really well, but that also entailed them bringing me food all the time, and so sure it's just like so easy to sit there and be like, oh, okay, great, and
you even called me I'll never forget. You called me one morning at like 8 a.m, which you never do, and he knows I was just getting off work from third shift, and he's like, "What you doing?" I was like, "Dude, I just got off work. What do you think I'm doing? You want to bring me a coffee?" You just wanted company. You were so bored. Anyways, but yeah, I think that moment in your life was like you had never had, just like I've just had, because I just had back surgery. I've had this moment to just sit with my own brain all by myself every day, and you do think about things, or you get into new things, and you are always wanting to learn. So I think that was about the time you got into politics a little more than you ever used to.
Well, I mean, I'd always been in politics, but yeah, it was it wasn't just politics. I mean, I was able to watch the entire March Madness tournament for the first time ever because of it was that timing of it.
Right.
So I mean, there were some good aspects of it too, but for me, it ended up being, sadly, the longest vacation I ever had ever since I started working at
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I feel like we're just going to work and die, man.
Yeah. So I officially started working like my first taxable paycheck at 15, but I mean, I've always been working since I was 9 or 10.
You had a lot of jobs.
Doing everything from shoveling to, raking leaves, mowing lawns.
Was a paper route officially
I had a really, no, well, I guess I forgot about paper route. Yeah. I mean, that was.
I don't forget about that. You put me to work, man. Mm-hmm. I folded paper too in my time.
Yeah, I had decent spending money.
I subbed for you. I remember that.
But because of that, I mean, I'm surprised that I did do a lot for as much as I had going on and everything, and I knew that all through high school. My philosophy was just take advantage of everything you can, and it's easier said than done too. But I did. I don't have any regrets. People say, "Oh, the high school is the best time of your life." I'm like, well, I hope not, but I'm going to take advantage of it while I'm doing it.
I had complete opposite. Would you explain to the audience why, as loving of knowledge as you are, and as deep of intellectual as you are, and then I'm the complete opposite in high school, why is it that, in your words, did you not like college? Or tell me about your thoughts on college now.
Well,
because who would have thought I'd come out loving college?
I thought I would love college. I mean, obviously, I went to the American Academy of Art in Chicago after I graduated high school, and
he's also extremely artistic, extremely better than I, way better than me.
Well, taste is subjective, but
but you can do it a lot easier, and I can't. It comes even more natural to you, is what I'm saying.
Maybe that looks that way, but not really. I mean, there's a lot of angst and frustration.
And he's left-handed too. It's such a unique style that you have.
Yeah.
Okay, your handwriting's way better than me. Let's go with that.
I like.
He has gorgeous handwriting, you guys.
I like calligraphy and.
But our grandpa did too. Does Dad?
Dad has, he has good handwriting.
Oh wow! So all three of the men in our family.
Well, and Grandpa again is one of the reasons why I even tried to make such a nice signature and everything, because his was gorgeous, and
it was.
And what made it all worth it was there was one time he's like he says, "Oh, I see you've been practicing your signature, working on your signature." So he actually did acknowledge the fact that so that was cool.
That man trimmed his bushes in dress clothes.
Yeah,
I never saw
it
him
was just
outside.
different era,
Definitely a different era. Yeah. He had class.
But okay, what were you asking me? As far
About
as
college, like
okay.
what made you not go to college, despite all your success?
Well, I mean,
in
I
high
went
school?
there and I had all the
Okay.
intent of graduating and everything. But first of all, it was extremely expensive, so I was already delusional about like the cost benefit analysis. My problem was I did have an interest in so much. It was trying to decide what to go to college for, and like I said, since I failed algebra in ninth grade, my uh, graduating with honors and all that was already out the window, and so I kind of just you know, I mean, I coasted through high school anyway because it came relatively easy, but I didn't take it as serious as I could have, and I probably could have graduated in the top 10 or so, but because of like the failure in algebra, it ended up being like 28th overall or something. But it was a small class. So but no, so I went to Chicago with the serious intent of making a difference, but yeah, I was just disillusioned. I didn't realize what all it entailed becoming an artist, and there's just lots of different dynamics. At 18, I had already just started, experimenting a little bit with alcohol and,
Normal.
marijuana and that kind of stuff. And so yeah, I mean, I went into party mode, but at the same time, like I wasn't learning anything because
would you say the crowd that you were with? You were that cliche art student.
Yeah,
I know because I was a cliche art student.
If anything, I was probably the bad influence. I would say. Well, I mean, overall, there was a lot of people. They all had a lot of same interests, and in the art community, that is that way. And I still believe that the more you experience, the more you are as an artist. So, like, I don't regret any of that. In fact, that is an education in itself. I mean, even failing and paying all that money, it does teach you some lessons.
Oh, no doubt about that.
But yeah, as far as college goes, for me personally, it just I couldn't stay interested enough, and I think I wanted to do my own thing a lot, and so I just didn't realize I was just going through the motions, like we're kind of trained to do. Like, you obviously got to go to college, and obviously you got, to set yourself to get a good job, and blah, blah, blah. Well, art's a little different.
Were you pressured to go to college? Because I know I was.
No, well, it was just kind of expected, I think, even though...
That's what I'm getting at. Like, this was the 90s.
I guess that's pressure, but I didn't really think of it that way. I thought of it as like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? I was really choosing between music and art, but hindsight's always 20/20. I probably should have done like finance or psychology or something.
Looking back, you probably should have done finance or something to that effect.
Yeah, but it depends what your goals are. Back then, my goals were different, and
you have a family.
Yeah. And then on top of the way things landed, it's not everything can always be worse, and you can always do better. But I ended up getting more of a physical job, and so it is one of those jobs where you can kind of turn your brain off when you go in, and then once you clock out, you're done with it, and so you go home and enjoy your life. And so that in itself is a huge benefit. A lot of people don't have that luxury. They have a job that's you're always on call, so to speak, or we might need you on Saturday, or whatever it may be.
My job was very taxing on my mind. I had to shut my brain down.
Exactly. With
reading brainwaves.
My wife, she is a problem solver for the bank. So when the bank has a problem, they call her, and so she's taxed mentally, and I'm the opposite. At the end of the day, I'm taxed physically. So it's this weird, like, I can't do anything physical, but I'll think for you if you work for me. Anyway, I failed fantastically there. It didn't even last a year, and basically racked up, 15 grand for Dad to pay off. That I still appreciate very much today, but I'm sure he loved that. And then, so then I came back to Fort Wayne and kind of tried to make it on my own. Tried again at St. Francis. It was college back then, not
which
university.
is where I went, and I have super fond memories of St. Francis. But
I did the same thing. Only the problem there was I had to take care of myself. So now I'm working third shift, and my dumb ass took 18 credit hours.
That was
looking back in. They weren't cheap either, but I was able to test into their highest English class and their second highest math just to skip all that. So they gave me every chance. But again, I couldn't. I always wonder if maybe it was ADD or something, but I don't think I am. It's really just.
Oh no.
I can't. They can't keep my. Maybe I can come up with excuses, I guess. But at the end of the day, I just didn't care about what they were trying to show me. A lot of it I either already knew or didn't care about, and so it took me years to realize that for me.
It's because you wanted to learn, and I just want to do the bare minimum and get by.
But I know I'm not normal or
in high school
or anything, So I've learned over the years. That's why I am kind of a jack of all trades. I don't really belong anywhere, but at the same time, I can kind of fit in a lot of places. I know enough just to be dangerous, maybe.
I'll go with that.
But I have, I mean, I certainly don't know everything. So, but that, and to me, that's,
but you are very willing to open up a book and do the research.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is what I think this world is missing right now. We don't know how to get information anymore. Personally, I feel I'm going to go all the way back to the high school education that we receive nowadays, and even back for me too, is that when I graduated, I didn't know anything about taxes. I still don't. I don't understand.
Well,
I don't know how it works.
They don't teach a lot of that.
I don't know how a mortgage works. I don't know how. I did learn how to balance a checkbook, but I don't do that anymore, and it's not something I need on my anymore. Our education system is just they don't teach you how.
Well, and so you have to supplement your education, and that takes your own effort. Again, if you have to make it a priority if something's important to you, and so that's what I've learned. And I wouldn't trade the experience of going to college or anything for something else.
That's good.
I mean, I just, like I said, I had a lot of friends that went to Ball State. I probably should just gone down there and done psychology or something. Get a bachelor's.
That would have been good. Yeah.
But even then, I don't know. I mean, would I be doing my own private practice right now? Because then I'd have to go, for more schooling. So it's just always this like,
And let's be honest, I'm more the people person than you are.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, I couldn't do a job in retail now or fast food. And mind you, I have done both quite a bit.
A lot.
But now I couldn't do it. I'd end up either strangling somebody or getting fired within a day. But that's why they always say you should have a little experience in fast food or retail, so that
very good for you. Yep.
Yeah, that you can empathize with people that have those jobs because they're severely underpaid for what they have to put up with and do, and people are starting to finally figure that out. A lot of businesses, because of the
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the workforce right now. I'm getting so tired of seeing the if you're broke, go get a job. Everybody's hiring bullshit. Like, I'm tired of this mindset that just because a job is hiring that you should take it. As someone who is on medical leave from my job, I bought into the hustle and bustle of the world in my 20s, and I'm kind of rare that I established my career at 23. But my point is, my question to you is, what do you think of what's going on in the world right now when it comes to the workforce issues, and where is workforce going?
It's a pretty broad question, but
right on purpose.
Well, I'd say what we're seeing now is, from my perspective, a culmination of several decades of whatever you want to call it, Reaganomics, trickle-down economics, horse and sparrow economics.
I've never heard any.
Voodoo
I've
economics.
heard the Reaganomics, but
yeah, but the basic concept is, instead of demand coming from the bottom, from the consumer, it's from the top. It's supply side economics. We shipped all of our jobs off to China, 40-something years ago, and then so that caused. That's why we have the Rust Belt now, where literally factories are rusting and falling apart because they abandoned those jobs, and now you're. People are scratching their heads wondering why there's no good jobs there like that anymore. In the meantime, unions have been so eroded and busted over the years that only approximately like 11% of all workers in the United States are in a union. Somebody please verify that for me. That's the last statistic that I remember reading.
I remember learning early on in my early 20s, so this is the early 2000s, that despite generations before me that sign on to a job and saying, sign up that 401k because I'm retiring from this job. I learned in my early 20s that that's not going to happen. You make more money, you climb the ladder by going to a different company.
Well, it's a different era now. Back then, that's kind of I would say during the boomer generation and the silent generation, where that was a stable way to make the best income. I mean, it was a single family or single worker family income. You could buy a house, maybe in a lake cottage and 2 vehicles, and live the middle to upper middle class life. Now,
easily.
You can't. That's not the same anymore. And then obviously the millennial generation has figured that out.
I feel so bad for millennials.
If we didn't say, I'm technically, I mean, I try not to put a lot of, weight into labels and stuff anyway, but we're technically Generation X. I mean, if you're going to talk about the years or anything, but to me, that's more of a class divide than a generational divide. So, I mean, that's an argument in itself.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as like why we are here, I would say overall it's because of piss poor economic, trade with the rest of the world. The way that we don't value the right labor. I mean, the pandemic exposed when we call people what was it, necessary workers, or was it? I'm sorry, what's the term? Anything. But the whole idea that like obviously that's the backbone of an economy, or the workers that have to do all those kind of jobs, and we realize yes, that is really important, but we don't pay like it is for like babysitting or childcare basically, or anything like that, or even teachers.
Why isn't child care free? That one.
Well, I mean, there's lots of reasons. I mean, everything from like people not liking giving. They consider that
the first problem that you face when you have, especially if you're a single mother and you want to get a job, but you need child care. And of course, their answer is, well, don't get a divorce and be a single mother. But
it's seen as mooching off the system unnecessarily from one angle, and then also it's seen as
that's the problem. They call it mooching off the system when it's the system should be providing it. It's we're all paying into the system. Sure. This isn't mooching; it's paying.
Right. Well, and that's like when they say Social Security is an entitlement. You're damn right. You're entitled to it. You've paid into the system. I mean, if you paid your taxes, then yes, you are entitled to that. You can obviously the argument's over like when you're entitled to it and for how much.
Right.
And they try to pull that rug out from underneath you like it's a multi-level marketing scheme or something. But no, along with them looking down on childcare, they also see it as like a woman's job. I think that's still. I know that's an older assumption, but I still think it's valid. I
think there's a lot of jobs like that.
Sure, yeah.
Look, you know what job that I no longer ever look down on? That I used to. I'll be honest. I used to look down on it. There's two jobs. I'm going two directions here. One is truck drivers. I used to think, skeezy truck drivers or whatever. That is a very admirable job in my opinion. Now, first of all, you're driving 18-wheeler, kill anybody around you. It's not easy. It's not easy. A lot of respect for that. But we tend to have a negative connotation to them. I don't know why anymore. And then one that I have a lot of respect for is chefs. Now, when I used to think of cooks, you think of flipping burgers as like a peon job. Again, I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying but chefs are the food you put in your body. When I went on my nutrition journey and learning what I did about food and how important it is and how to prepare it all and all that. Anyways, chefs.
Chef's a pinnacle of the culinary arts. It's an art. It's hard to use food to make it not only delicious, but appealing visually and everything from the smell to the look to the texture. You name it. It's all it's a skill and it's an art form. So I respect that, and you pay for that too. Obviously,
essential workers.
Essential thing.
Yeah. Because I worked the COVID unit as a nurse tech, because I have a medical license, but you can kind of whatever, anyways. But now I feel like the medical workers and doctors too. We're just like, what? Since when do we not care about science? Since when do we not care about facts and being right? And I feel like that's the era we're in right now.
Well, I think plenty of people do care about it. It's just that there's a lot of noise, a lot of misinformation, and that's not an accident. You have again, there's multiple reasons, but the internet and media in general, commercial media is flooded with misinformation and just opinion. There's a lot of
I'm
that.
so glad the internet wasn't around. Of course, you were kind of already into that, actually. What, late 90s?
Yeah, during the 90s. I had experience with the internet even back in the 80s, but you're talking like.
All right, sorry about that. The battery died in the camera. So we were talking about the internet and how the uprising in the 90s, and I was playing Oregon Trail, and you were building your own computers or something. I don't know what you were always doing something I didn't know.
Well, I just from learning about them, really. Yeah, going to the the library, and then a few friends we had, had like one had a Commodore 64.
Oh, geez.
To date us there.
But you have your Atari. Sorry, I mean.
No, I sold.
You sold the Atari.
I had more than one Atari, and I sold them for a profit actually, along with.
Sorry,
well, I mean,
just asking that.
Well, I mean, that's just it. A lot of it's just from trial and error.
You still have you're a collector.
Yeah, but I have sold quite a bit and downsized over the years.
Well.
I mean, I've like pretty much all of my gaming stuff. I've sold. We had a Magnavox Odyssey 2. If
I don't even know what that was.
That was before the Atari, and then there was the Atari, and then there was the 8-bit Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, I don't know what order it went in, the GameCube, and then 64. And then the Saturn.
I wasn't allowed to be in there.
And Sega Saturn. And
all I cared, I just wanted to be in your room while you were playing.
Well, you were just, you were an annoying little sister that would run across the room and make the game skip. And for
with all the cords, I mean,
Yeah, because for all you younger folks out there, nowadays you don't have to worry that kind of stuff. But back then, if you'd have the console on the floor, and if you accidentally hit it the wrong way or something, it would skip and then it would reset. Well. There's no save button on the Atari. You would play until you die, and that's
right.
There's no happy ending. Like you just keep going, and eventually you die. So the goal is to have the high score, and so you're always trying to beat your previous score. And so, but you could be there for 3 hours straight working on a game, and then like an annoying little sister would walk in and like make it skip, and then you throw the controller against the wall because you just wasted 3 hours.
So then I was allowed to be in there, but I wasn't allowed to talk.
Yeah, probably. That's, sorry.
I did enjoy going to all your band concerts and plays and all that. Those are always a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I subject a lot of people to that kind of stuff. I mean, I like it overall. I just, I wouldn't expect anybody to automatically like going to like a state fair or something like that,
I know what I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if I've ever asked you this. What are you proud of?
Overall, I'd say it's mainly that I'm just a self-made man. From where we started, from what little help I've had, I've been fortunate enough to, like I said, being a natural born skeptic, that kind of helped steer me in the right direction. Because I just naturally gravitated towards facts and from there subjects and learning on my own. So, I was able to, make a good foundation for myself, and
you made good choices. I would agree with
overall that. I made some horrible choices. I've been very fortunate in that regard. I have never really gotten in trouble for anything that I've done, of any real question.
For a kid that didn't you throw the baseball bat at an umpire because you got so mad? You had some anger issues as a kid.
Oh yeah.
But for someone that had such anger issues as a kid, you didn't have any problems with that.
I deal with this with Zach now, my son, because he on occasion gets. I can see it. I don't know if it's genetic, but it comes. I certainly recognize it when he gets.
I don't think he's learned how to channel it yet.
Right, exactly. Well, I have. I still have it there. I mean, it's. But it's an emotion like anything else. I mean, anger actually serves a good purpose sometimes.
So does fear.
And it's all it's all part of just being human.
Yeah.
So you can't just bury it or pretend it's not there anymore. But you can learn how to channel it and control it and use it to your advantage. So, like when he was playing football, that's when you channel the anger. Like, remember what your sister did that pissed you off? Okay, use that in football, and that's exactly what you would do. It's like you pretend that quarterback is your sister or whoever it is. It's like what's the Adam Sandler movie where football?
Foosball, Waterboy.
Yeah, Waterboy. Yeah, where like he'd see the quarterback and run out. Yeah, well, that's the idea. Actually, you use that to your advantage.
What's the Kathy Bates?
Yeah, she was the mom in that.
Right, but that's the star lookalike I've been told about Kathy Bates.
Oh, okay, no.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No, I kind of agree with it actually.
No, you look.
I like Kathy Bates. I'm cool. I don't care.
You look like the woman in Game of Thrones.
Yes. I'll post that. I'm going to be here for Halloween someday. One of these days. One of these days. Yeah, I've been told that. But then we all got to dress up as a character, and yeah. Maybe I should get into cosplay with my situation. I could do cosplay. Why not? Anyway. So another topic I want to talk to you about, because with both of our artistic minds, the topic that Jake and I are both into is like marketing. And I think marketing, along with media, which are two entities in themselves, are a big reason why we are the way we are, why we're all fat because of marketing of food, and and cigarettes when you were a smoker. And I think I'll lead with marketing is so strong that we can actually make a cigarette a gender thing with like Misty cigarettes
Oh, they
and
do.
Virginia Slim.
Sure.
Since when is a cigarette, something that it's,
Well, that's
only
why-
a gender can.
That's why there is 300 different kinds of cigarettes, because they're marketed towards different groups. That's why
Right.
vaping is so popular. It's marketed more towards your kids.
That's why they use fun colors and
Sure.
cherry and
Yeah.
all these fun names and.
Yeah, I mean, marketing is, well, again, when I went to, one of the parts of being disillusioned when I went to college for art was the marketing and the psychological aspect of it. I mean, primarily if you're going to school for art, you're going to end up in graphic design or something along those lines. Anything from advertising in magazines to billboards to cereal boxes to you name it. And all that entails trying to get someone to buy your product. And so that was one of the things that I really hated, because I don't like tricking people into parting with their money unnecessarily. That it's dishonest, at best, but it's also very sinister underneath. Like for instance, billboards or anything. If your target audience is the heterosexual male age 18 to 25, you're going to have a hot chick in the billboard with her cleavage exposed, and it's going to be like, drink our beer, and it's I mean, it's really point blank. It's like, if you drink this, now the guy's going to say or think, if you drink this beer, I might get that hot chick. It's
I did at college and art school. I had to take a science credit, so I took nutrition in college at the college level, but I wasn't exactly very studious. And I also took nutrition thinking it was gonna be like an easy A, like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so simple. Turned out nutrition was actually a really hard class at that time for me. It was a lot. It entailed a lot more than I had any.
Well, you got a good one then.
Oh, I had a wonderful professor. Actually, ran into her later in life, and she's awesome. She's awesome. So, anyways, and I got to tell her this. I got to tell her that she was seeing that I wasn't quite the science student, although I like science, especially now. At that time, I just whatever. Anyways, so we had to do a final project, and for the final project, she let me do something that was more visual instead of science. And so I found some ads that were a hot chick leaning against a car. I don't even remember what they're trying to sell, but I noticed from my artistic eye that this model didn't have a belly button. Mm-hmm. They actually artistically airbrushed her belly button out.
Wow.
Since when are belly buttons like a not sexy or something? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like,
someone that in that marketing department, or at least higher up at some point,
take out her belly button
to either not. It was probably a decision of like, okay, that's distracting from the rest of it or something. They're trying, because I mean they do break it down to, I mean, what's the bullseye? And in the case of the beer ad, it's going to be the woman's cleavage, believe it or not. I mean, next time you see a billboard with some hot woman on it trying to advertise some product, look at what the product is. What is that product? Who's going to drink that product or whatever it is? Who's going to use that product? It's probably going to be a male, heterosexual, 18 to 25 in that case, and the primary bullseye on that billboard is going to be probably her cleavage, or at least her figure. And that's not an accident. That's all done on purpose. And not even to say that's all sinister, but it is down to a science like that, the science of psychology. It's a soft science, but it still is. They know exactly how to, like we were just talking about this today. What was the commercial we saw during the football game that
for cryptocurrency?
Yeah, well, there's cryptocurrency.
Music and commercials right now. I'm
noticing
towards the Gen Xers, so it's like a lot of 90s.
So it was like
music.
A progressive insurance commercial, and they were playing 90 like a tag team and everything. So
no, that was for see, I don't remember what sprinkles. Something sprinkle it down. Right. Tag team back again. It was just totally 90s people.
I thought it was a progressive commercial, but anyway. So yeah, they're using a 90s song, so their audience there is people our age, because people our age, we were in our 18 to 30 around that time frame. So we're going to reminisce about that, and we're like, oh, I remember that. That was great. And then you're going to associate, or they're hoping you're going to associate that song with their product and be like, okay, well, they're kind of speaking my language here, so let's give them a try.
I'm so glad I don't work in marketing either, or advertising of any kind, because I did start out as advertising major and
there is ethics in business, believe it or not, but it's really easy to put that aside for the almighty dollar, and that's what happens way too often. Is a company they'll do all sorts of things that are not in the best interest of even their own consumers if it means making another penny. I mean, I hate to be that cynical, but
you make me think of a story. I've been doing a lot of research on multi-level marketing businesses that are. I mean, we can go back. Like I think Amway was one of like the most original OGs. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that is.
And then like
that they started a lot of problems for
Avon.
a lot of. You call it Scamway, but yeah. They're still around, by the way, too.
Arbonne is, yes, they are.
Well, I mean, Betsy
I've
DeVos
been a victim, if you will, of it. Didn't we have a Kirby vacuum?
Well, I mean, the previous Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, under the Trump administration, was an heiress of the Amway fortune.
Was it Amway?
Yeah, and then her brother, what's his name, the wannabe soldier idiot, what's his name, Prince or Eric Prince. Yeah, he's off playing soldier somewhere and trying to hire out his private military and everything. That's kind of the next wave of where our tax money is going for nothing. But yeah, I mean, because Amway successfully fought lawsuits back in the 70s and 80s about them taking advantage of their people, then it basically made it open game for everyone else. So that's why it's been so hard to get rid of multi-level marketing and pyramid schemes and stuff. And same thing goes for like DraftKings and what's the other popular one for the
Caesar thing?
Well, that's one too. Yeah, the sports betting apps. They found kind of a loophole because I don't know if you remember. Well, obviously a lot of people are younger than we are. Back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was highly illegal to do any sportsbook betting. So you had to go like in a back alley somewhere and risk getting your knees broken because you couldn't pay up on some bookie's bet or whatever. But now it's like almost encouraged because they found like a little loophole there, and so they're quasi legal and able to make billions of dollars now off a new industry where it's almost encouraged to bet, even though everyone knows. I mean, everyone knows like the casino always wins. I mean, it's
right.
And the same thing with DraftKings. They're not going to give you free money and stuff if they don't think you're going to keep playing and eventually lose money. At least 99% of the people. And so they certainly make money from it. And so we know as a society, through studies and everything else, that all this stuff is detrimental to the health of a society. So is the lottery, for instance, or pull tabs, scratch offs, you name it. But we do. I mean, it wouldn't be so bad, but again, it becomes more insidious than that because then they're like, well, we'll just fund public education with some of the lottery winnings and stuff, and that's great. But then they pull out the tax funding from the city on those public schools, and now they rely on people buying lottery tickets, and all of a sudden now it's a necessity for people to gamble. It's just there's so many aspects of it, but yeah, and again, Jacob All Trades, I'm going to get off on so many different tangents. She'll get me started on one thing, and I'll go in another direction.
And I'm the same way. So we'll reel each other in, but again, this is just the very first episode.
Right.
We're just touching surfaces of different genres and things like that. But that also, hopefully, it gives you an idea of different topics for him and I both. But again, questions are super duper welcomed. Also, I think I'll do like a Facebook question prior to filming, and I'll gather up some questions that way too. So I'm gonna do one more topic for you guys, and this one is we're just gonna touch on the surface of this topic on purpose. Okay, it's a very deep topic.
You can always ask more questions later. I mean, I encourage it. So if there's any specific question you have about a topic, or if I didn't cover something in depth, or maybe anything really, just let us know.
It's Jacob All Trades.
No.
Master of none. Speaking of master of none, we are not professionals, and we want to make that clear. Anything you take from here, it's our opinions. We are well versed. I like to say I know above average about things, but again, there are opinions. So with that said, I would like for you, Jake, I want you to explain the definition of what cryptocurrency is, and in layman's terms, for someone that just doesn't understand it, I want you to simplify it. And again, we're not giving out advice or saying to go buy crypto. That's not what we're doing here. We're just touching the surface to talk about it and go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like all over the place, isn't it?
It's all over the place.
How did I lose weight and gain it back to like, oh, what's cryptocurrency?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Again, that's the idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's the probably future of currency in general, but cryptocurrency itself is it's cryptography and currency. Cryptography is basically the art of disguising and making information safe, so that like for instance, in this case, a blockchain, and that way it's a secure network that you can trust. And
Is a blockchain another way to explain that, like a checkbook ledger? Is that a good?
Yeah, I mean that's a
description?
great working definition, because a blockchain is basically a digital ledger. A ledger, again, for the younger generation.
Oh, they wouldn't know. Yeah,
Right, we used
a
to,
ledger.
or you still can. I mean, at the banks they give you ledgers that, so every time you use your debit card, you only have so much money in your account. You're supposed to be keeping track of that, and you write it down in
Right.
your ledger, and then that way you have it every month. You balance it, and so you know down to the penny where all your money's at, and how much you owe, how much you don't, and what your balance is. Well, digital ledger is the same thing, only it's trustless. It
Trustless.
list,
LIST.
LESS. Like there's
Okay.
no trust involved. There's
Gotcha.
no, you don't have to worry about taking someone's word for it. It's a public blockchain, so any transaction that's done on there, well, it's pseudonymous, meaning it's kind of somewhat anonymous. Like your name is not attached to it. However, you have a wallet, which is an address.
Just like your computer has an IP address, and
well, it's more like you have a bank account number. It's
okay.
your wallet address is more like that, but it's an address for, yeah, like money or coins, tokens, whatever, to be NFTs to be transferred to that address, which is represented or part of the wallet. But anyway, yeah. So cryptocurrency is the reason I say it's in all likelihood the future of currency is because it's, well, ideally decentralized, meaning that there's no one in charge, like with the U.S. dollar, for instance.
The bank, right?
The feds are
Banks
in charge.
have too much power. I do feel that way.
Well, this is, I mean, if I had to pigeonhole it, I'd say cryptocurrency in general is more of a libertarian concept. Libertarians are more the keep your nose out of my business, and what's mine's mine, and you worry about yours kind of philosophy.
Okay.
It's lots and lots wrong with it. Basically, it's like what I would call a newer Republican. And I guess later on I can explain basically my probably, I don't know, background and or beliefs as far as politics and that kind of stuff go. But
we'll get into that. Yeah.
yeah. I
later,
mean,
sure.
I don't really subscribe to any like one label. I really don't like labels, but they do serve a useful purpose, just like stereotypes and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the dollar is a centralized currency because the government controls that. They control how much they make of it. They control the circulation of it, the interest rate of it.
They can literally just print out more out of thin air.
They do
if they want to.
They are active, and overtime too. By the way, yeah, we are pumping money like it's there's no tomorrow, and hopefully that's not the case. But people have lost so much faith in not just the dollar, but in fiat in general. Fiat's just a general term for, a government's whatever they call their currency. So in the U.S. it's the dollar, in Europe it's the euro, in China it's the yuan, Japan it's the yen. I mean, it goes on, but basically it's all people are losing a lot of faith in that because you can. Some are worse than others, but with cryptocurrency, and since it's decentralized, you have a consensus on how much it is worth at the time, and so you can. I mean, everything's risk. I mean, investing in the dollar is risk.
It really is, yeah.
But that takes some of the guesswork.
I'm gonna stop you real quick.
Yeah, I mean, you can go in so many directions with cryptocurrency.
So I'm gonna stop you, but it's not redirecting you. I promise. The savings account is just, in my opinion, dead.
For
you can't get ahead of.
For like the U.S. dollar and banks.
For anybody right now in America.
Well, that's a great example. With cryptocurrency, like right now, for instance, you can get there's what's called a stable coin that's pegged to the dollar, a USD coin, and it's a pretty safe bet. It's about betting just like on the dollar, but it's worth $1, and so. But the thing is, in a savings account at a bank, you get 0.5% interest or something ridiculous at best, and on a lot of different exchanges, which are usually they're usually centralized, but they're centralized and decentralized exchanges, but they all offer different interest rates in order to entice you to use their exchange, and so it could be anywhere from 2% to I've seen as high as 15%, depends on the exchange and what they're trying to do. But point is, that's the new savings account, and I think a lot of millennials and probably Generation Z.
I've benefited from it.
Yeah, well, you and I both. Yeah.
This is how I built this studio.
Well, that's basically what my savings account is.
Dogecoin, baby.
Yeah, well, this,
shoot the
yeah,
moon.
this is, well, yeah. And I went ahead and bought a Doge.
Tell the audience about your dog, please. Yeah. Oh, I love
this. Well,
I
bought, if you're not familiar with the Dogecoin, first of all, it's one of the original, they call them altcoins. Bitcoin, I think, well, see, again, it takes a lot of explanation, but
cryptocurrency is the word for all of
it. That's the generic over.
Bitcoin is a type of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, Bitcoin is the original.
So is Dogecoin. It's a type of cryptocurrency.
Yes.
And Dogecoin is what I made.
And most of the time, each currency or token is its own blockchain, but you can build them on different layers and stuff. So ETH is probably the most popular one. They have multiple layers that you can buy different tokens and you can run apps on, decentralized apps, that kind of stuff. So some are more. That's kind of how you choose which ones are probably worth your time investing in the first place, is because, do they have a purpose?
And that's where the risk comes in, because you got to choose which coin you want to invest in. And I'll admit, mine was luck.
So speaking of, do they have a purpose? Does Doge have a purpose?
So yes, there's risk.
Well, Doge was invented shortly after Bitcoin. In fact, it was basically a lot of the technology was just copied directly from Bitcoin. So the irony is that it's a meme coin. Meaning, like, it was kind of a joke. It was actually literally started as a joke.
Yeah.
But it had solid fundamentals, so it actually isn't a bad.
You meant
coin.
meme, by the way, MEME.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just. Well, I think most.
Y'all have all seen the Doge. Okay.
Well, okay, it's a Shiba Inu. It's the dog, and it's a specific dog that's still alive today. I just saw a picture of him the other day, but he's
the actual
dog that the main photo that was taken for the Doge coin is still alive.
You just got a Shiba Inu puppy.
Yes, and we named her Luna on top of that, which is a different cryptocurrency, so that's even more confusing. But
no, it's not, because that's how I got some money. Is Doge shot the moon, baby, and Luna means moon.
Right, and I did give her financial advice, because I bought 70,000 Doge, and she bought I don't know how much, but I expected it to get up at least to a quarter. At the time, I bought it at like 5 cents a coin. I don't know what you were in at. Probably.
See, I don't. Yeah. I put it.
Okay, yeah. See, I pay attention to the numbers.
He's the numbers guy. Yeah. I'm the. I don't know what I am. Lucky.
You're along for the ride. I don't know.
You've always said I'm luckier than the other.
You are lucky. Yeah.
I'm
more lucky than I am. That's why I.
But I do take risks, and I do.
Yes, and
think outside the box. I'm all over the place. Like you are.
What's Crypto.com's slogan right now? Fortune favors the bold or the brave. You don't take chances. You don't.
Fortune favors the brave.
No risk is no loss, but it's also no gain.
I feel like just now in my early 40s, I'm getting ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you mean.
I felt
you've come into your own
of, like I said, capitalism and living paycheck to paycheck my whole life. And now, ironically, I feel like I'm somewhere good in my life, and then my back decides to, fall apart. Mm-hmm. So that threw a wrench in everything. But
well, eventually something goes wrong, and that's kind of what dawned on you, I think, is the fact that, like, it, well, you have the ability to reflect, just like I did with my broken foot, sit there and think about, like, okay, well, it's almost, and we're old enough now too. Like, I mean, I guess, for lack of a better term, I've gone through a midlife crisis. A lot of that is like, okay, what am I doing with my life? What have I done? Do I have any regrets? Where am I going? What's the best plan of action? That kind of thing. So I'm always kind of reassessing. But yeah, you get those moments, hopefully, that kind of like put things in perspective, so
my midlife crisis was 2016 for sure.
Oh, really? You can pinpoint it?
Oh, yeah. I had like 8 W-2s that year.
Oh, wow.
And I was burned out.
Yeah.
Burned out from the sleep field. Yeah. I just, I'd had it. 2, like, bad jobs in a row. Some of it was just traveling and temporary jobs, but still, nonetheless, I didn't care. I went and sold cars. I sold Fords. You remember that?
I mean, I've always tried to hate too.
Right. I don't have any regrets though about that. I hated that. It was the worst year of my life, but at the end of the day, it served its purpose.
Like you said, you take risk, and so now that's not a regret. It's the opposite of a regret, because you tried it and it didn't work, or you found out it wasn't for you, whatever it may be. And you moved on. So,
by the way, I don't think I was bad at selling cars. It just wasn't for me.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I wouldn't say.
I'm not saying you failed at it. I'm saying that you found out it really wasn't what you wanted or needed.
But I think I knew in the back of my head. I knew. I needed a break from the medical field. I was burned out, man. I
mean, I still play by the rules. Like, I don't break laws and all that, but I will bend stuff to my will if I can. In other words, I'm tired of feeling like, and I'm sure millions of people feel this way, where you do everything you're supposed to do and you just keep getting knocked down a peg all the time. It's like, one step forward, two steps back, and everybody's living paycheck to paycheck, and it's just like, this is ridiculous, and it needs to change, and it can, and it will one way or another. But yeah, so what do you do as an individual, as a family, and how do you react to that? And well, all I can do is try to take care of myself and my family. So I modeled everything around that, and cryptocurrency was a part of that. In fact, that's, as of right now, to me, the most obvious path out, but it's not easy.
Well, and
You
other
start to-
investments too.
Mm.
Jake is very well versed in stock market. You really get into that stuff. That's why one of your regrets is not you should have went into investments in college. And
Well, and that's just it, though. Along with that midlife crisis, was like, okay, I was too young for Apple stock. I was around during the .com boom and bust, and I didn't really. I was just enjoying it, not really taking advantage of it. And then I missed Google stock, and so I mean, it's like,
you did well in silver. You got me.
Oh
into
yes,
bullion.
when that was
bullion
and that was from coin collecting stuff. I understood it, and I paid close attention to the market. So yeah, I knew eventually. Like I just kept what you would call dollar cost averaging because I enjoyed collecting it. So I'd get more silver almost every week or whenever I could, and it adds up over time. And then eventually you realize, wow, the cost of silver right now is like 10 times what I paid for it. So it's to the point where like you're forcing me to sell this because I'm making such a ridiculous profit.
Yeah, you did good. Yeah. I did good too.
Yeah.
Had to sell that in 2016, by the way. It helped me it paid a car payment or two. I can tell you right now.
Well, the last time I sold my silver wasn't very long ago. Basically backtracked the market, and whenever it was at $20 was when I last sold, and I made enough, and I put that right into cryptocurrency, and made a decent amount there. But yeah. Crypto isn't like a guaranteed become rich overnight thing, and I want to stress that. Again, it's not even financial advice. It's just that my personal experience, and like anything else, to make it worth your time and make it as beneficial as possible to you, you do as much research as you can for yourself.
Yeah,
in other words, due diligence. Like if you're interested in a token or a coin, then research the hell out of it.
Absolutely.
Look up what all of them usually have a white paper. There's other types of stuff too. That's basically what the developers or the team has released. That it's the concept, the initial concept of the coin or the token, like what its reason for existence is, and some of them are more garbage than others. So you're getting into
some of them are just plain scams.
Right? Yes,
scams
they call them scam coins. They're the generic term for most altcoins, and most altcoins, by the way, will die. They will go away over the course of the next several years. It's picking the gems out of all the shit coins, and that's what they're affectionately called, is scam coin, shit coins, whatever. But Dogecoin does technically fall in that category of altcoin / shitcoin, but it, like I said, since it has good fundamentals and it has a broad base of people that bought into it and believe in it, and because of that, there's an ecosystem there for it. I think it has the potential to be the quarter of the future, but cryptocurrency is so new. It's only been around for 2009, something
very
like that.
new, yeah.
That it's going to take the next few decades to really shake things out completely and see who the winners and losers are.
It's still the wild, wild west, and that's why I just right now use this time to educate yourself. If you want to invest, educate, but most importantly, don't spend the farm on it. This is the wild, wild west.
Well, I mean, and again, there's some things you can do that doesn't even cost anything. You can get a free Coinbase account if you're 18, and I think I don't know how many, it's available in the majority of the countries in the world. But they offer tutorials on several different coins, and so you watch their videos and you get free cryptocurrency. And if you don't like any of those coins, you just trade them immediately for Bitcoin or whatever you like. And from there, you can transfer that money out anywhere else you want. So basically, you get around free $50 or so of crypto. So if you don't even want to start with any real skin in the game, so to speak, you can do it that way. I did that, and I ended up transferring that and compounding it. And I use Coinbase as like a kind of a watch list for all the garbage coins and coins that you're not really sure about, because there's plenty of those. And that way I kind of keep tabs on them, and I have a little skin in the game, so it keeps me interested. And that's what I'm recommending, is basically if you get on like Coinbase or something and get a free account, well, you get $5 Bitcoin or whatever it is,
and
then
your feet wet. That's a nice way to
and
get
it
your
keeps you
feet wet
watching it
without
interested.
too much commitment.
And for a while, you start to see the trends and things like that,
and you learn.
Yeah, and when it reaches all-time high, then you're like, oh wow, okay. So then you start putting things in perspective.
Right. I'd like to add too that you do have to pay taxes on crypto too. This isn't
right. Well, that's that's one of the things keeping the federal government from shutting it all down.
Right.
Is that they get a really good cut of everything.
Right.
In fact, but it's a lot like stocks where if you don't keep a coin for over a year, then it's considered shorting it if you sell it. And so that is upwards of like 39% or so in taxes that you have to pay the next tax year. But if you keep it for over a year, typically it's around 15%. So it's just like a stock; it's much more affordable to just to have long positions and stuff.
Right.
But it's easier said than done because there's investing and there's day trading. I consider those two separate things. If you're trying to make smaller amounts of money more quickly, that's usually your day trading. I mean, you can get lucky and get big amounts, but
that takes some.
Well, the idea there is that is your full time job. That's your
right.
Monday through Friday, or in cryptocurrency's case, 24/7, 7 days a week. By the way,
I think what was it? I described someone if stocks are like marijuana, then cryptocurrency is like bath salts because it's intense, man.
Well,
it's just my opinion,
thing is, well, it's all on speed and cocaine, I'm sure. But yeah, I would say even different coins are different.
Different coins. That's good. Yeah, it's not all of it.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy here. What's a coin that I absolutely hate? Trying to pick a good one. Well, there's like Shiba Inu, for instance, and I know I probably already pissed off 27 people, but it's a shit coin. I'm sorry to tell you. Some people think it's going to get to $1. It'll be lucky to get to a tenth or 100th of a penny. But it has a strong following, and they even have a couple use cases for it, or at least they're starting like staking pools and things like that. And again, if you're into cryptocurrency, that's when you start reading more about that kind of stuff in general.
And sometimes a coin has its own purpose too.
That's
the Tiger King to raise money for Tiger King has its own coin, T King.
Yeah.
And the goal of that coin is to raise money for him to get whatever. I don't know all the.
Again, it can be a little underhanded. I mean, T King is 1% goes to actually.
Okay, so not all of it. My bad.
No, 1% goes to Joe Exotic's defense fund, and he also has cancer. And so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, some of that's going towards that.
I haven't watched the second one yet.
I haven't either. It just came out.
Yeah.
But I bought some T King because of that. I knew it was going to come out. That's not it. If you do your research and you know another Tiger King series is coming out, there was a movie that was going to be in production. I think it might have been.
I think that's going to happen.
Okay. Well, either way, when you get little bumps like that, that's when
Nicolas Cage is going to play him.
Yeah, that's when I heard about it. I didn't know if it was going to make it or not. Yeah. But those are the gambles you take. Why not plunk $100 down on something like that? And we did, and we've got like 30 something million of them. But that's because we bought them at like 0.00008 cents a piece. So it's a numbers game again. I don't expect that to go to $1 or anything.
No.
It got up 2,000 something %, and so we could have cashed out then. And but it's what you would call a pump and dump or a rug pull, or it could be. I mean, I don't know. I can't read their minds. I don't know the intentions of the developers. All I like to do is read their website, what they've talked about, that kind of stuff. So you at least have a decent idea of if they're sketchy or not.
But the key is you didn't sell the farm just to go invest in T King. What I mean? Mm-hmm. It is there is some hobby to this. I mean, it's something you enjoy, and
yes.
But you're always trying to strategize, and it's almost like sports too. You're always trying to strategize and
it's like investing,
make the right moves. And
cryptocurrency is like investing in general. I mean, pretty much every financial expert will tell you want to diversify. You want to minimize your risk or your exposure. So you don't just sink everything into one thing, even if you think it's a home run, because if that company or whatever it is you invest in, another battery death there. It looks like.
Yep. Sorry about the battery thing. Okay, so that was cryptocurrency for you. And again, I purposely glad that we didn't go into super duper individual super crazy stuff with crypto, because that's future stuff. You guys, please ask us questions. Again, it's a hobby. It's something you enjoy. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea though, and that's okay. So is there anything you would like to say to end on to let the audience know?
Well, I mean, I definitely would like to continue talking about cryptocurrency, if not any of the other things.
We
that
will.
talked
We
about.
absolutely.
I mean, it's if you didn't know, roughly 1% or so of everyone has some sort of investment in cryptocurrency. So
1%.
Mhm.
Is this global or?
I believe it's global. So I have around 8 billion people on the planet.
That's
who have-
nothing. Crypto is global. That's another. It's very
Yes.
global.
Well, you have different
which is the
exchanges,
benefit of
just
it,
like
yeah.
you do banks everywhere around the world, you know. So they're all
Right on.
competing with each other, but yeah, I would definitely like to expand on that further.
But we definitely need more questions from you guys.
Because I have a
about
feeling there's
that.
lots of people interested in that kind of stuff. Like I said, if only 1% interested,
Right,
you know,
and
then-
there's some intimidation there. They don't know
Oh, yeah.
where to get their information. Not that we know everything, you guys. But we do really appreciate discussion, and that is what I'm doing this entire show is because I appreciate deep discussion. But we need your help into what deep discussions you want to hear, and for Jake and myself, and I don't know, anything you want to end on?
Well, I mean, really, again, I just want to recap and say that I know I mean, it's Jake of all trades. I love talking about most anything, and so I'm pretty open about most anything. So we'll do that, but I just want to end saying that obviously, yeah, I'm not saying I know everything. I don't even like. I mean, this format is great, and it is what it is, but I feel like I'm mansplaining. I know for a modern audience, they're probably like, oh, great, another standard white guy that is like telling his opinion of everything. So I mean, yeah, I that irony isn't lost on me. But I mean, what else can you? All I can do is really offer my opinion on stuff, and
I think you'll be really good once I'm able to go live, and then the banter between everybody with questions about truly anything. There's a lot going on in the world now that we certainly love talking to each other. So why not talk to the world? It's awesome.
Sure, yeah.
Definitely. So thank you for tuning into this. Again, on purpose, we didn't cover everything.
Well, there's just no possible way anyway.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good start.
And we're all over on purpose again. We didn't have a script because, I don't stick to a script anyway. So, anyways, we hope to see you again. I have no idea when because I am the most random poster, which, by the way, is why you should subscribe, hit the like button, do all the stuff. Because that way you'll know when I post something new. Because right now I'm so unpredictable. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here, Jake.
Oh, sure. Well, obviously, this will be the most exciting segment she ever does. So it'll be a recurring thing, and then you'll get to know me better.
Absolutely. We'll see you in the future. I promise. You have a good day.
All right, take care.